One of my favorite this memory I remember so much about Emanuel Steward. The man is so ethical, it's unbelievable. But Vitaly Klitschko has said some derogatory, it's just a little slick stuff about Manny. Emanuel Steward. In boxing press, and somebody overseas brought it up. We were doing it was some fight, and we were all there at the media press thing, and they brought it to Emanuel Steward's attention while Manny was there. He was getting ready to do his commentary job for HBO, and what did Manny tell him? Manny said, it was the most respectful I've ever heard of man. He just said, I could never, because I'm going to tell you, Thomas Adamic and it's a couple other fighters that wanted Emanuel Steward to train them. That the promoters, they brought offers for Emanuel Steward to train them to go up against Vitaly, and HBO was pretty much pushing for that because they wanted to put that fight on their network. That was the only way they would pick up the fight. Other than that, they were going to be done with the Klitschkos altogether. And out of loyalty, Emanuel Steward just sat there and clearly said, I can never do that. I just never, no matter how much money they pay me, I could never do that. There's a personal bond between them. I will never do that. Train not just one brother to fight the other brother, but I would never train another fighter to fight either one of the Klitschkos. Even though I don't train Vitaly no more, I would not train another fighter to beat the fighter of the brother of the fighter that I'm training. I just won't do that. It's just unethical. And I would always remember that. And then on the undercard of a fight, Emanuel Steward was there early to watch the undercards. And this young fighter, he was real enthused in the weigh-ins. He fought Andre Berto. I forgot his name. I'll probably have to go on BoxRec to find it. And he fought Andre Berto. That I do know, because Berto was up and coming, and he lost to Andre Berto by a knockout in like the second or third round. And after the fight, Emanuel Steward goes to this kid because he's devastated. He had a lot of, he's supposed to have been fighting for a title, and they took this fight, the Berto fight. They made them fight the Berto fight first. Then he could fight for a title. So, out of love, I don't know if Emanuel Steward trained him or something, but he went over, he hugged the kid, put his arm around him, talked to him for a bit, picked his head up, and he didn't even have to do this. And this is this is like on way down the list on the undercard fight, and the fact that he did that was just amazing. I'll never forget that. Then meeting him, this dude is like 65. I met him when he was 63, and then again when he was 65, and then at 65, and when I mean meeting him, I mean having conversations with him, and his hands shaking, his shoulders, I swear, are just like a man who's been training like a middleweight champion. He's solid. To anybody who knew Emanuel Steward, his shoulders were like boulders. And I'm like, he's bulging out of the suits that he was in. But he was always classy, always professional and ethical, and he was funny. And I'm gonna miss speaking to him, and he was approachable. For all those who just didn't know the way he was just approachable. And he loved the game of boxing, loved the sport, passionate. And he The people who don't know, I mean, his legend is Derek. I mean, his legend will go on forever. I mean, he's trained over 40 fighters. He pretty much fathered the pad work, because basically nobody, at least in the Midwest that I know of, was even using pads back in those days. I believe he stated too in an interview that he used to turn the pads inside out of the boxing gloves. He'd turn a boxing glove inside out and put his hands in there, because they didn't even have the pads that they got now. You could just put your hands in there and pad. Back when in the 80s, because he said in the older days, Sugar Ray Robinson and all those guys, they never used pad works, because that didn't define you as a trainer. It's all about teaching, and that's what's missing nowadays. And all these guys can pay $10, $15 and become boxing trainers. Unlike these other professional sports, where you actually got to pass tests and certain certifications, to get your standard of, okay, you're accepted. But in here, all you got to do is pay your fine, pay the fee, and you're a boxing trainer. And that's what's wrong with the sport. It's like there are not enough teachers, and they don't know how to teach. They don't know how to teach the basics, because they have never been taught how to be boxing trainers. And he was fundamentally one of the greatest trainers as far as improving fighters and finding flaws in fighters. Now, his commentary I will miss on HBO, because he will give you gems and tell you about what's happening in a fight, what the fighter's doing wrong, because he actually knows. He was a steward of the game of boxing. He'll be missed forever, and I know I'm going on and on and on, but that's deep. With Emanuel Steward going, that's a real painful thing, real difficult thing to deal with right now. I heard it was colon cancer too, that he was battling with after the earlier reports, but he wanted everything to be private. He didn't want a big thing in the media, the press. He wanted to keep it all quiet, everything that he was going through. And his family respect his wishes, and that's why I didn't write anything about it. I just focused on boxing, because that was Emanuel Steward's wish. He just wants life to continue, life to go on. Talk about the fights, keep going on. Oh man, I gotta stop this.